This is Angry Bears fan. I guess episode 19.
Minicast.
Yeah, special edition breaking news. The Chicago Bears pulled the trigger on a trade for the first overall pick. They sent the first overall pick to the Carolina Panthers for pick number 9, next year's first round pick, next year's second round pick, and then this year's second round pick, right?
No, it was number 9 overall, number 61 overall, next year's 1, and 2025 2.
Second, okay, yes. 2020, yeah, 2025 2. And DJ Moore.
Yeah, so realistically, they got 2 1s, 2 2s, and DJ Moore for the number 1 overall
yes,
pick.
Yes, DJ Moore, who most people think is worth a first in value-wise.
Well, remember, at the trade deadline, and we talked about this on the podcast, Green Bay offered Carolina a 1 for DJ Moore, and they said no. So, in retrospect, that's at least a first he's worth. And Carolina wanted to include a 2025 first-round pick. The Bears said no. Ryan Poles said, I don't want that pick. I want DJ Moore. He would not budge off of DJ Moore, and Carolina gave in. And realistically, DJ Moore is worth at least a 1. At least.
Early second, yeah. With all that being said, kudos to Ryan Poles. Hell of a trade. Probably the best trade in Bears history. Maybe I would say the Jay Cutler one. I think that was a really good deal. I mean, it didn't work out like we wanted to, but we got a franchise quarterback for 2 first-round picks. What was it? Yeah, it was 3 first-round picks. Right. Yeah. But this is just pretty much a perfect scenario. That's why he pulled the trigger. Tom's been saying he thought they were going to trade it before free agency this whole time. I personally thought he'd wait till the pro day. Even though I like this trade, if I'm GM, which I'm not, I'm just sitting here on the computer, and that's why Ryan Poles gets paid all the money. But I probably would have waited till the pro days, just 'cause I think anticipation really be high. But like I said, I really like this deal. I think we'll still be able to do everything we need to do. Carolina's going to be terrible next year, so we're going to have a top 10 pick next year.
Absolutely.
And so that gives us a lot of flexibility. I'm not a Justin Fields detractor by any means, but if this year goes south, we have a contingency plan. If it doesn't, if he's even if he has like slightly above average, and we know that like probably not just going to get some quarterback who's going to be way better than him, we get Marvin Harrison Jr. We'll have 2 firsts. We won't need a quarterback, so we won't be a threat to a team to move up to the first overall pick. So it's just shades of what Philly did. Like I said, maybe we don't trade up. We trade the first for DK Metcalf because he's –
Well, I want you to think about this scenario for a second. What if Carolina is so bad next year that they give us the number 1 overall pick?
That is a high chance. It's a high chance.
They have no offense besides whatever quarterback they draft. The running backs are mid. They have no wide receivers now. They have a good defense. I will say that. They do have a good defense. Yes. But stranger things have happened. Injuries can occur. It's a very high possibility that we could be picking top 5 courtesy of Carolina next year.
Looking right now, I would have to say they're probably gonna be the worst team on paper. Maybe the Falcons.
I don't know about the Falcons.
The Lions are much improved, or like the Bears aren't going to be that bad again. We were trying to lose on purpose.
Houston,
I don't think will be that bad again. Though, like I said, I think worst case scenario, if they don't get even if they get the quarterback one, I think for some reason Jimmy Garoppolo will be on the team, something like that. I guess Tampa will be really bad, but either way, I'm pretty confident it's going to be like a top 5 pick. Which is fun because we'll have our own first as well. And I'm not sure, like, we could trade back again. I mean,
I don't think Ryan Poles is done.
No,
I think what happens is if number 9 comes around and his guys are off the board, and he doesn't see anybody worthy of taking at number 9, or because we don't need to draft or sign a wide receiver in free agency now. We just don't.
No.
So at number 9, if Will Anderson's going to be gone, obviously. Jalen Carter, if Jalen Carter's gone.
Jalen Carter might be there. I mean, with all this drama.
I mean, he could be.
Yeah.
He could be, but I'm saying if all of his guys are gone and he doesn't find anybody worthy taking of that number 9 overall pick, he could very well trade back to 16 with
get another second. Yeah, get another second.
They still probably give us another first.
Think so?
Because
yeah,
it's
what
so
the Bears
high.
trade to move up to 11? We traded the next year's first, right, and a third to move up from 21 to 11 or something like that.
Something. But I mean, it really just depends on how badly somebody wants somebody.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what I mean. He could want the next first.
Yeah, you can always add like.
And we'll send something. We'll send something back. You know what I mean. I've been harping on sending Cody Whitehair to somebody.
But this trade is amazing.
Amazing. I think Tyree Wilson, if we want him, he'll be there. I think Nolan Smith, after all the pro days and his question marks are answered, I think he'll be there at 9. I think Miles Murphy will be there at 9.
What if they go cornerback? They take the best cornerback on the board. Say it's man, I can't remember his name right now.
Christian Gonzalez.
Either Christian Gonzalez or the kid from
Porter Jr. from Penn State.
Illinois.
Oh,
the kid from Illinois he's the number 1 ranked cornerback in the draft right now.
I've been seeing, the Gonzalez and him have been flip flopping. Porter Jr. I literally was just talking. I'm gonna look on my Discord because I was just talking to a guy. He's a Steelers fan, and he was talking about the corners the Steelers were going to get.
Because he's a stud. The kid from Illinois is an absolute stud. I wasn't really thinking about it, but I mean, if you're talking about best available player at number 9, if you shore up your free agency, like your offensive lineman in free agency, there's really no urgency to draft an offensive lineman at 9. You could go best available player and pick up. Huh?
Is that it? Banks from Illinois?
No.
Okay, I don't know. Yeah, we were talking about this in our group chat with Adam. I really just right now, as it stands, if we do nothing, we don't sign any free agents, tackle would obviously be what we would pick. There's going to be Campbell or Saransky will be there. But I just think how free agency is, what's out there in free agency right now, what we need, I just am positive we're going to sign multiple offensive linemen in free agency. So I think like this DJ Moore trade, that's going to take away our need to draft a first-round tackle because we have Braxton Jones. He is either the left tackle or the right tackle of the future.
Devin Witherspoon, that's his name. From Illinois.
Yeah. Okay. He is not.
And that's the thing, too. Like you said perfectly, this sets up free agency now. You don't have to spend money at a premier position like you thought you were going to.
Overpay on some bum we didn't really need.
This is what, and we'll talk about this more on the actual podcast next week. I have 3 names, 3 contracts on the offensive line that I really want to do. Ethan Pocic, center, Ben Powers, guard, and Juwan Taylor, right tackle. Juwan Taylor, I think you get 4 years, $60 million. His market value right now, I think, is at 13.3. Overpay him a little bit, maybe give him 15. Ethan Pocic is, I think it's like 7.5 to 8 million is his market value, and Ben Powers is 9.5 million. So you sign those guys to 3-4 year deals, and you just add depth in the later rounds of the draft.
Yeah. Whoever falls, get them. Yeah,
and then you go from there.
Yeah, I think this trade really put us in a good position. Like I said, now we don't have to give, Jacoby Myers a fucking $18-20 million a year contract.
Yeah, and DJ Moore's contract's very doable. It's
yes, yeah, you were talking about that as well when you texted me. Yeah, he's got it's 3 years, like $52 million, which is pretty good for his skill level. It's less than what Mooney's going to want in his extension.
Yep.
What Jacoby Myers is going to want. Like, this is a slam dunk for Ryan Poles. And like I said, as it stands right now, we would obviously have to take Saransky or Paris Campbell. But I just, like you said, I don't know if it's going to be Pocic. I think with the coach we just signed, I really think we're going to end up with Ben Jones now. Lyman like to go.
He's 33 though. He's getting up there in age.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like I said, they take him and then they draft Olatuami or Schmaltz and put him at guard, or they've learned under him. You know what I mean? Move these guys around. And like I said, maybe we get Powers, maybe we get Pocic. But I'm positive we're getting one of those 4 tackles. I would be shocked if we didn't get McGlinchey, Orlando Brown Jr., James, or McGrary. One of those guys is going to be a Bear. And then we have Braxton Jones, who is a quality NFL tackle on either side. So I think we'll be picking best available defensive player there. I'm praying Jalen Carter slides. I don't know if he'll go all the way to 9. I wouldn't be unhappy with Tyree Wilson. Honestly, I know we're talking about how we already got a wide receiver, but in my ideal mind, we fall back to like 12 or in front of the Packers and then pick JSN. And then, like I said, let the cards fall when they may. Let Claypool and fucking Mooney duke it out for who we're going to keep next year. and go from there. And like I said, I just have my heart set on JSN. I know this changes a little bit, but I think that would help Justin take another step. I don't know if it's I'm hypnotized by Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, but I just think that's a move. I think to do some chemistry in the locker room.
Yeah, it's very rare to have that kind of chemistry. But this trade, man, it sets us up. And there's, even talks that Carolina can turn around and flip that number 1 overall pick.
Oh, yeah, they were saying that, they like Stroud, which is, I don't know, we've been harping Stroud this whole time. He's much bigger, and they seem like a similar talent at quarterback. I've never seen Bryce Young do anything that I didn't think CJ Stroud could do. And that would be strange if they traded back. I guess maybe if they fall back like one spot, like let's say they know the Texans like Bryce Young, or it's like fine, kind of like the San Francisco. That's what I meant. Yeah, that they kind of like San Francisco did with us. They're like, fine, give us a 3rd and a 5th to move up one spot or something. 3rd and a 4th, you guys take Bryce Young. We'll take CJ Stroud. Let's get out of here. But I don't see them trading back now. That would just be weird. That would be like some Madden shit where it's like you just traded for the first just to trade back. You know what I mean? Try and get a better deal than the Bears got. And would teams really even be reaching out to you? Like, no one would. I wouldn't even think that like they just traded all that shit for the number 1 pick. Like, and they wouldn't.
They gave up. They gave up their number 1 target in the process. And this is the thing: DJ Moore is a legit number 1 wide receiver. Last year, 63 catches for 888 yards with a bad team.
He missed those few games too, I think.
He played 15 games.
Okay.
Or no, he played all 17. The least amount of games he's played in a season is 15.
Okay.
So he's a durable player as well. His rookie season, besides last year, was the only other year he didn't go for over 1,000 yards. The rest of, his career, he's been over 1,000 yards. So 3 out of the 5 years, he's been over 1,000. He's a legit number 1 guy. He's small, 6 foot, but at the same time, you have Chase Claypool on the other side of the field that's also 6'4". So he's not going to be your jump ball guy. There's statistics on Twitter. So intermediate part of the field. So 10 to 19 yards. Justin Fields was the number 1 ranked quarterback in intermittent throws, 10 to 19 yards down the field with a 66.7% completion percentage. DJ Moore, over the course of his career since 2019, has been targeted the 2nd most in the NFL in that yardage range, the 10 to 19 yardage range, that intermediate yardage range. So Justin Fields loves and relishes in that part of the field, and that's where DJ Moore eats the most. This is a match made in heaven. This was a perfect pickup, a perfect trade for the Chicago Bears. I'm excited. My expectations are still set a little bit lower than most, only because this team has a lot of holes. I feel like it's going to be at least a 3-year rebuild.
It's still seeing what we do in free agency. I said, getting DJ Moore, like you said, really changed a lot of things because now we don't have to spend money or capital on a position on a wide receiver. We got to basically throw it into a deal. He's worth the first. It was a cherry on top of a deal that we really wanted anyway that hit everything we wanted. And like I said, just puts us in perfect position. Like I said, I really want JSN, but probably the smart thing to do would be able to take the best defensive lineman that's there.
Well, here's the thing. Just was it this past week or last week? I was talking about how Justin Fields needed a small, speedy wide receiver to be a Tyreek Hill-esque wide receiver for his quarterback who's an improviser. And guess what? They fucking got it.
DJ Moore also, you cannot press him. Like, that was our problem. These guys cannot beat the press. Mooney looked terrible. Claypool, I thought that's what we got him for. He really couldn't either. And none of the other guys would. But you cannot. DJ Moore is going to win on that slant every time when you press him, or he's just going to burn you. So I'm very excited to see what Justin can do with him. I hope that lights a fire under Justin Fields. And like I said, I don't know about the rebuild. I'd have to see what they do in free agency. If we end up with, like you said, Juwan James, Bocic, Ben Powers, you know what I mean? We throw in Hargraves, you know what I mean? Corey, I really think we're going to get the Colts rejects, Yannick and Okorie. And hey, I mean, if we have another draft like we had his first year, and we add 4 or 5 starters, who knows? I think with adding DJ Moore, if we add some offensive linemen and a few quality rookies, I think we're better than the Lions. We got a better quarterback than the Lions. We got a better offense than the Lions. Big win for the Bears today. Big win. Big GM move. Like, our GMs never make big brain plays like this. Sometimes that stuff has to fall into our lap. And this one, he's been doing his due diligence. He's been clear that, you know what I mean, he knew what he wanted and he was going to get it. And this is exactly what we wanted. The only gripe would be people are always going to say, what if you waited a month? You probably would have got more. And I do think that. But if you got a price, you take it. Like, you know what I mean? And that is what we wanted. You got a number 1 wide receiver, a top 10 pick, a top 10 pick next year, and then a second round pick the year after that. And he's probably going to trade down again. So we're going to have even more capital. Like you said, you're optimistic we're going to get even another first next year. I'm hoping we kind of get some more capital this year and just I think the next year's first from the Panthers is more than enough. That's going to be a top 10 pick. And if we've already got a quarterback and a quality team with young talent, we can do whatever we want with our 2 firsts to get whatever we want. We can trade one of them for a vet who's unhappy, or we can move up and get Marvin Harrison Jr., who I'm guessing is going to be the 2nd pick in the draft. Caleb Williams will be number 1 unless the Bears are picking
quarterback.
Unless the Bears are picking one. It just depends what teams are there. What I'm saying is Marvin Harrison Jr. is going. He'll be the first non-quarterback taken.
You want to pause it real quick?
Yeah.
Adam texted. He wants to hop on.
Oh, all right. Adam was going to join us earlier, so we took a small break to get him in. He is Tom's actual brother, my brother from another mother. We look more like brothers than those two. But we've been talking about adding somebody else, bringing out some special guests and friends from time to time. So we're going to bring Adam in. Let him tell us what he thinks about the Justin Fields, the trade for the number 1 overall pick. Me and Tom been probably going on about it for about 10 or 15 minutes. But what's your take on it, Adam?
I mean, I like the trade. We essentially got 3 number 1s if you look at it in different perspectives. I mean, DJ Moore was the 24th pick, I believe, in 2018.
Yeah,
he was somewhere in the 20s.
Yeah.
So I mean, we essentially got a first round. Well, we still got our first round retained it. First round next year, you get a first round wide receiver, and DJ Moore is 25. So essentially, they get 3 first round picks, 1 via already incorporated player, and then 2 second round picks, which pretty much stacks them. If I count it right, because I know the NFL also allowed them or gave them an extra pick, I believe, a complimentary pick at the end of.
We got 1.
It was a 7th round pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still another pick. So it's 11 picks now, all in total.
Well, you got the number 9 overall pick. You got 2 2s, 2 3s, 2 4s, 2 5s, and 2 7s. So you're at 11 picks this year.
Yeah, so 11 picks, which, I mean, if the trend shows right, I'm not fully convinced that Poles is done.
We were just saying that.
Moving around. There's people laugh at me when I make this trade scenario, and I made this before all this happened before. And I know I've mentioned it to you, Tom, about going after Hopkins. And there's a situation where they could either trade back up with Arizona, because Arizona doesn't need a quarterback. There's hungry teams up there to kind of help Arizona's draft capital too, and trade them a second round, and i.e. a 5th or a 7th rounder, a complimentary pick to get Hopkins, and move back up to 3 to possibly still get Willie Anderson and 2 stud receivers without even having to draft one of them.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think Ryan Poles mostly, and I've been saying this, and I don't think Ryan Poles with this trade with DJ Moore wants a 31-year-old wide receiver. That's why he went after a 25-year-old wide receiver and got that compensation in return.
But remember,
I think DeAndre Hopkins, while he would be nice, I realistically expect him to be traded elsewhere.
He probably will be, but also remember, Hopkins
the Bill
is only
Belichick
owed $10
connection
million.
seems really real.
Yeah, but Hopkins is only owed $10 million.
It was
if we get Hopkins on his little middle 2-year contract that's remaining that they actually owe him money on, we're getting Hopkins for a bargain of what he would be going in the free agent market.
I'm not worried about that per se. That's not what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about the money at this point.
Yeah, we got the money.
I'm more so worried about the draft compensation for DeAndre Hopkins. I think just might be a little too much right now for what this team's trying to do. We're not trying to rebuild this team in 1 year. That's not what Ryan Poles is trying to do.
And to go from 9 to 3, it would cost us like a next first.
Yeah.
It wouldn't just be like a second.
I don't think, the asking price, you don't even have to necessarily go to 9-3 to get Hopkins. There's nothing about trading draft.
Well, I want Hopkins. I've been all year. I've been saying let's get Hopkins, but now with DJ Moore, DJ Moore. Now we have Claypool, DJ Moore, Mooney, and Hopkins. I don't think that's just viable. I don't think they're going to do that. But I do like Hopkins a lot, and if I had my choice, I would have preferred Hopkins over DJ Moore. Just I think he's worth the first, but I'm not super high on him. He's undersized. I think Mooney can do like 80% of what DJ Moore can do. If he got
you have to have your bona fide. DJ Moore is bona fide number one. But what separate Hopkins from DJ Moore and Mooney?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I like Hopkins, and I think he gives Justin Fields somebody with some confidence where he can just fling it up there. And
I think that's the point. You don't have size. You got Claypool, but Claypool hasn't been able to prove himself in 2 years.
Yeah.
You got to remember, too, the stat that I just read off about the 10 to 19-yard range. Justin Fields, 66.7% completion percentage. He was the number one quarterback in the 10 to 19-yard range throwing the ball down the field. DJ Moore has been targeted the second most amount of times in that 10 to 19-yard range since 2019. Justin Fields lives there. DJ Moore eats there.
Yeah,
it's a perfect match.
Understand something. Why does Justin Fields live there?
What, 10 to 15
What is he doing
yards?
85% of the time? He's scrambling 85% of the time.
He doesn't have a wide receiver that can stretch the field. He doesn't have a wide receiver that can beat press man coverage. And that's what DJ Moore can do.
Can he? Do you know else can beat press man coverage and go deep?
It doesn't matter. What I'm saying is I'd much rather take a 25-year-old on a team-friendly deal through 2025 than a 31-year-old.
I think, what Tom is saying is Poles is doing like he's trying to get young, good contracts.
I understand.
I just think D-Hop doesn't fit that. Yeah, I don't. And it just after all this, he just doesn't fit our timeline either. D-Hop is like if we're trying to compete next year, like.
Well, number one thing people get.
Yeah.
One thing people
right now, I kind of wish we had.
We're on a rebuild. We're on a rebuild, right? Yeah, we're on a rebuild, but no GM, no head coach is going to sit there and say, "Well, our rebuild in the NFL is going to take 4 years."
I agree with you. I agree with you. Tom has been saying 4 years, but I agree with you. It can't take 4 years. If it takes 4 years, you're in trouble.
What I'm saying is, listen. What I'm saying is the owners of the teams will come out and say, "Oh, it's a 4-year rebuild," or whatever bullshit they want to feed you. Reality, the fact is the NFL. Money sells, wins sell, right? Yeah, it's a Bears.
Yeah, you got 2 years. You got 2 years.
Put it this way: with a shit offense, let's just be real, a shit offense surrounding Justin Fields, overall, right? We were in every game. We got blown out 3 games total. If you add little pieces here and there, why is it no complimentary reason that we cannot compete next year and be in the playoffs next year? So the shit where they're not trying to win next year, it's full of shit.
Oh, no. I agree with you.
There's not enough talent on the roster. There's just not. There's not enough talent on the roster to make
you say that, but
I agree with you. Right now, there's not enough talent
but
on the roster.
all the Bengals have is Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. And some guys.
That's not true. They have a solid defense and they have a good running back.
But there's a patchwork defense, like a bunch of guys. Their Eli Apple was their starting corner, and
but their defensive coach they're also one of the best blitzing defenses in the entire league.
Why we couldn't do that though? That we can recreate scheme. They didn't have it. What I'm saying is they don't have. They haven't got
coaches.
The difference is Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. That's the difference. It's Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, not the coaches.
And I understand that. Joe Burrow is probably the number 2 quarterback in the league, and Jamar Chase is probably the number 2 wide receiver in the league.
I'm not saying
you're not going to get those guys.
But we can. But what I'm saying is we could go to make the playoffs. We're not saying we're not going to make the Super Bowl.
I'm not saying we can't. I always said 7 to 9 wins was my target for next year to compete for a playoff spot. But Adam wants to rush and thinks that this is just a 1-year turnaround, and it's not.
That's where
I think I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle of both of you, where I think we got to do it like the Eagles. You got 2 years, and this is his first year. This first offseason is his first year. Next year, if things don't pan out, he'll have to do what the Eagles did and the Dolphins did and trade that first that extra first for a player or trade up to get Marvin Harrison Jr.
And again,
and really go all out to win. Because like Adam said, they're not giving you 4 years. You got 2 years to show that it's going to work. The fourth year, you might be in the Super Bowl. But you can't. They're not going to give you 4 years just to dilly.
They gave Ryan Pace how many years? They gave Jerry Angelo.
No, but
they gave
won.
Phil Emery before him how many years? They gave Jerry Angelo how many years before him?
But that's the
this
Kevin
is the
Warren
Chicago
now.
Bears we're talking about.
No, we're not talking about the Chicago Bears anymore. Now they have a real person running the team.
I understand that, but Kevin Warren.
How long did Pace have?
You right now, Ryan Poles has a leash.
Yeah.
Okay. He has a very long leash. If this doesn't work next year, and let's just say something happens to where they're absolutely abysmal, and they move on from Justin Fields, you don't think they're going to give Ryan Poles, if he drafts another quarterback, to get his guy? You don't think they're going to let him go another 2, 3, 4 years to see if that works? Just like they did the previous GM? They're going to.
They only gave Pace 1 year with this new quarterback. So, like I'm saying, like I said, they might get
fucked up the 6 years previous, is what I'm saying.
He didn't fuck up the 6 years previous.
He had a bad track record.
We were a bad kick away from the NFC Championship.
See, remember, what you guys aren't incorporating is you're sitting there thinking that, like, oh, the GM. I'm not relating to, or I'm not saying that the GM is on a short leash. Okay, I'm not saying the GM has only 2 years to create a winning team. GM's got a lot more of a leash than, we'll say, coaches. It's fact, right? Yeah, GMs are the ones that draft. GMs are the ones that hire the coaches based off of who they want, their personalities, how they mesh, what their view is. So, so
if we suck,
the rebuild that you guys are creating, it's not just a mix of what Ryan Poles wants and what Uberless wants. It's more so what they feel the organization needs, right? I like the hiring of Uberless. I like his supporting staff. I said it from day one. And Tom, what I'm trying to say is this: is we're still rebuilding at a younger. We got a lot of draft capital now, right? Every team that makes a Super Bowl run or a playoff run, they're usually mixed with veterans, young talent to kind of help build that up. Going after somebody, and I'm just going to use it as an example again, which is still an area of need. Let's say Hopkins, if you get him for 2 mid-round or a second and a mid-round pick, when you have 11 draft picks and you get 2 or 3 more years of solid 2 number ones at receiver, right? That's not setting you back.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying
do with Claypool and Mooney?
Like Sean said, he doesn't fit the timeline. Okay. Yeah, you have those 11 draft picks, but you have so many holes on the roster.
Yeah.
Whoever your first round pick is,
with $100 million to spend in free agency.
But nobody to get. There's only offensive linemen and bums.
That's also not true.
Your number 9
you got 2. It may not be the top level D tackles, but you got 2 out of probably the top 10 in the league D tackles at free agency.
Maybe Hargraves.
You got a couple upcoming linebackers. You got some pretty good cornerbacks. You got a couple really good safeties out there. So don't tell me there's not stuff you can get.
But we don't need a safety.
Says who?
Says us. We have a Pro Bowl rookie safety, basically, in Eddie Jackson, who we haven't cut yet. I mean, I've been saying we're going to cut him. I do think we're going to cut him, and then maybe we'll get somebody. But I mean, nobody who's really tilting the scale. Maybe Tremont Edmonds. Hargraves is good. I think. Who's the other top 10 DT? Jermon Jones was top 10.
Yeah,
he was top run stopping.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
He had a pretty good quarterback pressure rate for an interior.
And as we all know, Everless runs off of 3-4 defense. What do you need in 3-4?
No, it's 4-3.
I think he runs a 4-3.
I did misspeak. You're right.
4-3 cover 2.
Yeah, it was 4-3, but you still need a true 3 tech, right? Yeah. That's what you need to make that defense succeed. He knows it. Everybody knows it. Can we go out there?
No, I guess Fletcher Cox is a 3, right?
Yeah. So maybe still the Georgia defensive tackle lands us at 9, because right now he's projected 12th.
Is he? Again, I did see that. Yeah, I saw in my Tom McShay with the text.
And depending, this is all depending. This is all depending on what happens in free agency. I can tell you now, they're going to probably get the linebacker from the Colts. They're probably going to get the tackle from San Francisco. McGlinchey, I can't pronounce his name.
Yeah. I don't think they're probably going to get the tackle
from Kansas City.
He's not a good pass protector.
Who?
McGlinchey. But I agree with you. I just think because again, I agree with those.
Remember, you don't have to get him. If you sign McGlinchey and he's better as a guard, they're going to move him. He's going to play whatever you tell him to play because you're paying him.
Yeah. But
yeah,
either
but
way,
you're not going to pay a guard. You're not going to pay a guard $18 million a
yeah,
year.
but I mean, if you have to, but I mean,
you're
afterwards,
not going to pay a guard $18 million a year.
But
that's what McGlinchey's going to get on the market. McGlinchey's going to get $15 to $18 million this year.
But you can insert. But what I'm saying is, you can insert whatever name. They don't get McGlinchey, but they are getting a tackle. No matter how it goes, it might not be McGlinchey. It might be James. It's going to be Orlando Brown Jr., James, McGrary, or McGlinchey. They're getting one of them. They have to.
But the bottom line is they're going to go offensive heavy and defensive heavy in free agency in terms of the line. That's
they're just going to draft players offensive heavy.
No. I'm saying they're going to go
special teams.
They're going to go deep. They're going to try to sound 2 or 3 offensive linemen in free agency. They're also going to draft 2 or 3 linemen in
100%. They get 2 offensive linemen. If it's Taylor Lewan, Ben Jones, they're getting 2. So I don't think they're drafting a tackle at 9. Me and Tom were talking about that.
I texted you guys this earlier, but what I've been seeing is this. Let's say take Hopkins off the plate, right? When you're at 9, generally speaking, you go best available, unless it's a quarterback, because you don't need a quarterback. This isn't going to be the only trade that happens in this draft. So we're all trying to predict what's going to happen. I tell you right now, if 3 more teams trade and the whole draft order is fucked up, pardon my French, to where Bears 9, you still may be able to land, some top end talent.
I mean, there is a scenario where I think Will Anderson falls. I mean,
I don't think
like you said, some weird stuff might happen. The Cardinals might fall back too far. There could be 4 quarterbacks to go in the first round or in the top 5.
Yeah, but if Will Anderson is there at 5, Seattle's taking him.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
I mean, it depends.
Jalen Carter at 9, ideal. I would be really happy if we ended up with Jalen Carter at 9. And then again, like I said before you joined, it's just best available the whole way through for the Bears. Really, where we have holes everywhere. I guess not wide receiver now would be I guess the only place we don't have a hole. But besides that, I guess we won't need a lineman if everything goes.
But see, that's the thing is you guys keep saying that we don't have holes at wide receiver, but we do. No,
we don't.
Am I saying DJ Moore isn't an upgrade? Absolutely, he is.
I mean,
going to be fix it? No.
I mean, yes. What you're saying is that we can improve. Just because we can improve doesn't mean it's still a hole that's not filled. Like we have a number 1 who signed for 3 years, and then we have 2 guys we at least have to see play this year to know if we have to re-sign or not. So we can't just sign D-Hop and then Mooney or Claypool not play. We might as well cut them. They can't get 10 cents. We'll never get a good grade on them, and then we're just going to end up cutting them at the end of the year anyway. So I think
Claypool. I think Claypool is better than the other 4th or 5th level receivers we have on our team.
Yeah.
So he's still top 4. Even
yeah. Well, I mean, he would be 4, but you don't need 4 wide receivers, and especially not 2. Your 3 and 4 would be 2 guys that you are going to be vying for an extension. They both are going to want extensions, and they're going to be pissed. They're going to be pissed on their extension year that they're the 4th option and not getting any targets. So they're going to be a shitty person to have as the 4th. And the Bears' 4th and 5th wide receiver are going to be blockers, and Claypool and Mooney aren't blockers. So I think it is. I see what you're saying. Like, yeah, there's plenty of guys who are better than DJ Moore, but I think as of right now, that isn't a hole. So I don't know if they're going to draft as much. And again, I said I want them to take JSN if he's there, but I don't want them to trade for D-Hop.
And he might, or that TCU that TCU wide receiver.
I don't want him high. I think just Justin Fields likes JSN. They went to college together. He's really good, and maybe we can recreate some of the.
There's still reports that Hardman might be heading our way.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that, man.
Yeah,
we can't get Hardman now, though. We can't get Hardman now. We just have too many small. But who knows? I mean, if we got Hardman, then we really wouldn't need another wide receiver. Before we got DJ Moore, I was really hoping we did get him, but he's more of a gadget player than a wide receiver. Honestly, he's more jet.
My whole point of this process is we're setting ourselves up for the long term. And I know, Tom, that's what you're trying to say. This isn't a 1 year. We're not trying to win today. Listen, you play in the NFL or you own an NFL team, you're trying to win every year. That's the only way you fill the seats. Does it take longer than some? Yes. Do some have a lower budget than others? Yes. Are some in the position like the Bears are this year?
In terms of, I mean, here's the thing, though. You're the Chicago Bears, and I know we harp and we bitch about Chicago GMs not spending money and Chicago owners not spending money, but the fact is, I don't think, and it's been this way for years before Kevin Warren came on board, the Bears didn't give a fuck. Because you know why? Because every seat at Soldier Field was sold out every Sunday,
Well,
regardless of how
that is
bad
true.
they were. So just because you're an owner doesn't mean you're trying to win. And you're going to fill
Not
seats
the owner.
for the Chicago Bears.
But guess what?
But Justin Fields will be, and Eberflus will be, because Eberflus, no matter what happens, if we don't win more, if we're not better than like 7-9 and look competitive, Eberflus is fired, and his whole staff and everybody. So they'll be playing to win, and the players like those guys, so they'll be playing to help them keep the job.
I think Eberflus has at least another 2 to 3 years. They'll fill it out.
If we're 7-9 and we look competent, or 7-8, or 9 and
but still 7-9 showing improvement.
7-10. Yeah, that's right.
I think he keeps his job at 6-11.
If we look good, if like I said, if we lose a bunch of close games and we fall off down the stretch, then yeah. But if we're worse than that, if we're a top 10 pick again, he's fired.
I mean,
listen, depending on you guys are gonna think I'm crazy, okay? But depending on what they do in free agency, and obviously what pieces they could add in the draft, you're looking at possibility of a worst to first in 1 year. It's possible.
Shot.
In our division, maybe.
No shot.
How? Explain how no shot.
Well, the Packers are losing Aaron Rodgers. The Lions aren't, I think, after free agency period, won't be better than us. After the free agency and the draft, I do not think the Lions will be better.
Minnesota? You think Minnesota is going to be able to compete?
Minnesota is going to lose Azarius Smith, and they lost Adam Thielen, and they're cutting Harrison Smith. They lost Eric Kendricks.
A couple of their defensive guys. They
lost Kendricks.
Not something they cannot.
I still think they're the favorite. I don't think the Bears would be a favorite, but it would be shocking if the Bears had more wins than the Vikings.
You guys are going to call me out on it, and Sean, you and I have had this argument before. But if there's a team that's going to overtake Minnesota or Green Bay, it's going to be the Detroit Lions this year. This upcoming season, it will be the Detroit Lions.
We're beating the Lions this year.
Detroit's going to win at least 11 games next year.
Listen, I think
I'm writing that down. I'm writing this down somewhere.
Yeah, you write it down.
Come back to this right now.
I'll take that money you need. It'll go above
Detroit will be 10-7 or 11-6, and they will be either first or second in the NFC North.
And who's going to be first?
The Bears,
just said first or second.
12-5. Justin Fields MVP.
No shot. Absolutely
no shot. Hold on, Tom.
Absolutely no shot.
Right? No shot.
They're not winning 12 games next year.
No.
The Bears will not win 12 games next year, Adam.
Hey, Tom, who gave their last head coach in his first year odds to go to the playoffs with Mitch Trubisky?
Dude, the defense was absolutely ridiculous. You can't compare it. The defense that we have now compared to what we came into to the 2018 season, we don't have a Khalil Mack, and no rookie that we draft is going to be a Khalil Mack.
Yeah, I was about to say, you don't know that. Might be coming back
too. Oh my God.
All right. We went on and on a little longer than we thought, but final thoughts, everybody. We'll start with you, Adam, and me and Tom will close it out on the trade.
Final thoughts are the Bears are going in the right direction. You know, my brother aside likes to play a little, narcissist, negativity guru head. I'm telling you right now, Bears are going to be 11-5 next year. We're going to be number 1 in the division.
You're smoking.
Justin Fields will be MVP.
Oh my God, you're one of those. Oh man.
All right, I wrote that down.
I wish I could be an optimist like you. I really do.
All right, Tom. What about you? Final thoughts on the Ryan Poles trade for the number 1 overall pick?
Grade is definitely an A+. Like I said, you get your true number 1 wide receiver in DJ Moore, 1,000-yard receiver. You get the number 9 overall pick. You get next year's first. It's going to be a top 10 pick because Carolina's terrible. I personally think it's going to be a top 5 pick, and then a 2025 second-round pick. And I don't think Ryan Poles is done. I just have this feeling that he's going to trade down from 9 again. And collect another first rounder next year as well. It'll be something stupid, crazy, something we don't see coming. But I do like it. It does set us up for the future, and I'm excited. Personally, I'm excited. Let's see what happens in free agency. I'll release my first mock draft next week.
I'll have mine too.
Yeah, during our podcast, I'll release my first mock. I'm just doing Bears rounds 1 through 4. I'm not going to go any further than 1 through 4.
I think I'm going to do the whole thing.
You want to do 7 rounds?
Yeah, just do the whole, like the PFF thing real quick, and then I'll be able to just post them. And
okay.
All right, but my final thought, I won't go too much because you guys really hit all the points, but I'll just say it's nice to have a competent GM. This is really a high-level move that, unlike anything the Bears have ever really done. Normally, we're just giving away our first for disgruntled players, which aren't always bad deals. But I'm really excited to see how it goes, and I agree. I think we'll be trading back again, probably like 12 to 15. But we did a little emergency video. I got in the car, we're driving home, and I got an alert that the trade was made after we dropped our episode today. So I decided we'll load up and do one tonight. But thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun
like, comment.
jazz.
Yeah, I said at the beginning, like, comment, subscribe, and let us know if you'd like Adam to join us again.
Adam, thanks for joining us tonight.
Yep. Let me say one more thing very quick. I went and saw this movie with my wife, the newest Jason Statham movie. Sorry, excuse me. And I made the comparison to Ryan Poles and Jason Statham. Like every movie Jason Statham's in, all he does is just kick ass, right? That's all he does. Doesn't play any other roles. So far, in Poles' tenure as GM, every move he made has literally just pretty much kicked ass.
Except for
Jason Statham to me is
except for Bayless Jones. We did talk about this. He said Justin Fields Justin Fields asked him to draft him. He asked Justin Fields which wide receiver he liked, and Justin for like a third, fourth round pick, and Justin Fields said Bayless Jones. So maybe that was just.
Which again, you don't know. He was hurt. He was hurt for half the year. Give the guy some credit.
He did the last half of the year when they made it a point to give him the ball. They did start giving it to him. But all right, we went on and on. Like I said, I don't think this is going to be an emergency episode. This was an actual episode. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. I'll probably do this sometime in the morning.
All right, see you tomorrow.
Thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure. Yes, Tom, I love you, but you're ugly as shit.